acknowledge the blessing wound. They blind cause they been lied to. Forgive your mother for they do not know you about to rise. You let me know, I'll be down to ride, right by your side. It's gonna be alright. You let me know, I'm not in a rush, and you I will trust. That is a must.
Open the floodgates, let it rain, Hail Mary, oh soon. We floating on them shrooms, let the Father know that the bride be ready soon. We bout to jump this broom, blessing.
Greetings, whole ones and purple beings from all around the world and then some. This is your girl, the Purple Prodigy. Hey. And we have, the legendary, the wonderful, the iconic Purple Oracle in the building. We are here today on the third episode of the podcast. And in today's discussion, we are going to be unpacking, and this is the month of February. As you already know, this is Black History Month.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
And we have a lot of critiques and a lot of perspectives that we want to bring on the table about this particular month because as you already know that in Black History Month that we support Black culture, we support outstanding pillars of the Black community to help shape culture and community, and that is, what I'm saying, in politics, in the industries, and all that, and that good stuff. And a lot of people that have stood up for Black rights and that have, what I'm saying, took the initiative to, you know, do something different and really much become a seeming rebellion to this white supremacist society. But the interesting thing about all of this is that a lot of people that is praised consistently, as you already know and as you already can see, it's just really no great impact when it comes to the narrative of Black liberation and detachment away from this white society and actually pouring into our own resources and community. Um, we don't see really much great examples of the known people that has been, praised for doing so much but contributing so little.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
And pretty much we just get into a deep dive about from the rooter to the tutor of why is that. So we're gonna start with Purple Oracle's perspective about all of this. So what's your thoughts and feelings?
Thank you, thank you. I'm excited about being here to talk about what I see as an opportunity to celebrate an abundance of melanin, to celebrate being melanin rich, to celebrate the tenacity and the fortitude that it's taken for us to navigate a society that is in large part geared towards highlighting, celebrating, and advancing people who lack melanin,
And
people who lack 4C hair textures, people who lack an abundance of rhythm and soul. Um, yeah, people who are self-governing, people who are in nature autonomous, and not to say that there aren't less melanated people who aren't tapped in. I'm just acknowledging how we align with source, how we're connected to source. And I feel like a lot of melanin rich people have abused that direct connection to source. And that is why we are in this lackluster reality. That's why we're in this lopsided reality because it benefits us to be divided. And there's definitely some handshaking going on behind the scenes. There's some melanin rich people shaking hands with melanin deficient people.
Oh my God.
Don't act shocked.
And they are collaborating for us to be prisoners in this experience, for us to be undernourished spiritually, financially, emotionally, for us to be at odds with each other, for us to constantly maneuver in a way that feels like we're not connected to each other, like it's trans women against cis women and women against men and white against black and young against old and just this it just keeps manufacturing gay against straight uh uh you know non-binary against trans, like it just keeps manufacturing and it just keeps manufacturing. And I think what I want to see this month and what I would like to see in future months, instead of recycling our forebearers, who our ancestors who did so much work in maintaining the division, did so much work in keeping us divided, because a lot of them, although they did, great things for that time, the problem is it wasn't sustainable in a way that we could keep growing and evolving and expanding. It was work to contain us when we should not be contained. It was work that restricted us, that diminished us and held us bound, accepting less and fighting really hard for crumbs, forgetting, who we were inherently, and demonizing challenge and struggle and resistance. Oh, I'm wealthy. I got money. I'm not going through all of that. I'm not doing all that. I'm not working up no sweat. I'm not going to be inconvenienced or uncomfortable. And yeah, you're not doing any manual labor, but the mental labor is great.
And I, oh,
The mental sacrifice is tremendous because your mental energy is going to a system and a machine that is going to not only oppress you, but your great grandchildren and your great great grandchildren. And so, what I want to see in future months like this, where we celebrate, our heritage, is the excavation, the uncovering of ancestors who didn't just simply die for the right to vote, but they died for the right not to participate in this. They died, they fought and they sacrificed for our autonomy, for our right to self-govern, for our right to learn how we want to learn, for our right to grow our own fruits and vegetables, to have clean water, to have healthy water supplies, for corporations and conglomerate entities not to come in and take over everything that our ancestors work hard to maintain, living in tandem with the environment and honoring uh, what truly holds us, and that's the earth. That's one of the things that I would like to see, moving forward, and that's one of the things that I feel like we fight for on this platform. You know, um, Kudos to Anadia Purple Prodigy for continuing to do this podcast, continuing to explore and to reason, with self and also with you all. I pray that y'all continue to support this platform, support this podcast, because she does put a lot into developing it, a lot in the thought process, and also a lot in just the graphic designs, and everything is really thoughtful in creating a purple print. And I'm gonna give the mic back to her in a second, but I want y'all to understand that the Purple Print podcast is about using your divine masculine and your divine feminine to process information. It's about using both sides of your brain. It's about unifying that. It's not about verses. It's about the unification of the soul. And so we want to celebrate and uplift melanin rich people and people who are respecting the work on this platform during this month. And as I pass this back to Anadia, I would love to hear her thoughts about melanin rich people who have inspired her and how you feel about them right now. Like, since you've had your purple thought awakening, like, do you still feel the same about these people, or has your thought process changed? Like, some of the people that you looked up to, you honored. I would love to hear some of them, and I would also like to hear how your thoughts about them have changed, or if they have changed.
Thank you. That was like very like I know you have a very multi perception about a lot of things. I respect that. And I love how you just hit things on the nail like that. And you're able to bring a special clarity. And I love how you deliver. I love how you deliver because it resonates on cue. So I grew up, you know what I'm saying, tuning in to the Beyoncé's, the Rihanna's, the Sierras and Nicki Minaj's, Carrie Hilson's, and you name it. And you know what I'm saying, they helped me to aspire, you know what I'm saying, to connect more with my divine feminine. And at a certain point, I just felt like it was like I love like I respect their artistry, I do respect their music, but as people, as who they are, I just don't align with because they are fitting into a space where I don't belong in, I don't fit in. So it was kind of like an in and out. Like I, letting music out dancing. I still listen to music to this day. No shade, even what's going on. But I have my boundaries, and I just felt like my role model shifted a lot throughout my adolescence and childhood. I do feel like I was in a bubble my whole time. I feel like I was on autopilot because I just didn't have really healthy role models in my family. I respected women that was around like family, you name it, like even everyday people like walking around, strangers, you name it. I just respected women in general. But it was just like growing up, I didn't really have a set role model to really look up to, especially that really looked like directly like me. But again, it was at a certain timeline period where I was disappointed in being black. I was very disappointed. I was ashamed, and it was part of the media how they painted us, and it was just like I did have saying some role models, but it was kind of like I kind of developed into the aspects of white society and white figures. And a biggest white figure that, what I'm saying, really I was inspired by the most, I'm gonna buck was Gaga. And it's so crazy that to the point she helped inspire me to become kind of like just be myself, but it was kind of like starting scratching at the surface. And throughout time, going through my adolescence and stepping into my young adult phase, I went back to Job Corps, and because mind you, like I didn't have that much friends. I was around family. Um, I wasn't really in tune with my own community growing up, and it took me to go to Job Corps because Job Corps was predominantly black to really much help to get back and understand my community a little bit more and to like really much be connected about what's really going on, what's the problem. So it was thanks to Job Corps, it really helped me to get like kind of like a start to get back in my roots. And right after that, I was tuning more into like, like a lot of black content creator artists, and it's just like I'm able to broaden my perspective that, everybody's not the problem. It may be a lot of people, but it's some people that are very impactfully inspiring that, that inspires me to be confident, be proud, and to be bold in my melanin, and not just my melanin, but who I am authentically. So it's great to have a reflection. Do I have certain names that inspire me other than the female artists? Some people of the community. And it took me at a certain point around when I was 18 or 19 where I was introduced to Sunky Angel, and it was more than her music that inspired me. I love how she went on lives and she was basically letting me know what's going on. She was being transparent about her family and what was going on and navigating her truth and pretty much let me know where she stand with family and just like venting what she's going through. And I felt like everything that she was saying I was going through in silence. Everything she was saying, I have to shout her out because it was a lot of lives that she was venting, and it was a nasty vent. But it helped me start with my healing process and identifying clarity of what I was going through. And I really respected at that time of how she showed up and how she unapologetic being herself, especially being trans. Like I really do admire and respect her about that. And it's other figures of the community too that, help inspire me too. But I think with Oracle, like I thought she took me to a whole nother level of individuality and just self-identification and expression that is outside from the construct, that's really outside from white supremacy and white society. Like it's something that is really like it's away from the surface. Now I'm in the deep depths of the ocean, finding and coming back home to my own soul. And pretty much I just want to shout out to all the people that really much inspire. Like I don't have really set names really right now to really like call out who inspired me, but pretty much I respect everybody that really much helped me come back parts of me, identify parts of me in my experience as well.
But I want to share this before I forget. Yeah, I had a brief interaction with Sankey Angel and Shia Diamond, and they both ended up going to California. But I didn't know Sankey Angel personally, but we did used to converse on social media back in the day, and I was really moved by just her transparency and sharing her HIV story, and I met Shia Diamond physically, and Shia Diamond really, really just helped me in so many ways as an artist and how I see myself. So, I've said, I've given some side eyes, as I'm sure they could give me some side eyes too. But overall, I respect them as human beings and I respect them as artists. And that will not change. So yeah, I really feel like that's an honor that when we think of the people who have impacted us in society, like, the Beyoncés, the Nicki Minaj's, the Nicki Minaj is certainly a hot topic right now. Um, and personally, I think that she is a lyrical genius, but at the same time, I feel like everything that we're seeing in the forefront, there are people that exist in our communities that have the same type of talent. But what allows them to stand out and what allows them to push to the front is their ability to assimilate. And that's a conversation that I don't think we're having enough as melanin rich black and indigenous people. Like we want to say, oh, they worked hard, oh, they were extremely hard working. Yeah, hard work only gonna get you so far though.
In that order.
We have family members who have busted their hump 8 to 12 hours a day for 50 and 60 years and ain't seen a tenth of what Beyonce is seeing, of what Nicki Minaj is seeing, of what a lot of these celebrities are seeing. And so we need to debunk the myth that people who don't have what they have are lazy. It's not about that. It's about how much you are willing to assimilate.
Agreed.
That's the real game, mama. Mwah.
First of all, is your look brandable? Is it marketable? Is it crossover? Because you need to have that going for you first. And then once you have that, you need to have some talent, some piece of talent that we could auto tune and put bells and whistles on,
And
and get some writers to come write for you, write your lyrics and stuff for you, some ghost writers. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have something to work with. And then once we have something to work with, how much will you allow the industry to mold you? Because I had someone who used to support me, who was a Harvard graduate, who was so into me and do certain things for me. And when they saw that I wanted to like stay rooted in how I created and where I drew my inspiration from, and how I conveyed that inspiration, they were like, I'm not going to continue to support that because you're not allowing me to mold you. And to a certain degree, I understand that because some people create to commodify, they create to capitalize. They don't create because this is what I love doing. They don't create, they create for a love, but it's the love of capitalization. It's the love of fanfare. It's the love of popularity. And so it goes back to the intent behind your creating, and my need to create is about expression, it's about healing, it's about collective elevation, it's about it's about community and communication. And the end goal of that isn't always about capitalizing. Now, if I can capitalize, we live in a capitalistic society, we need resources. So if the resources come, that's a blessing, but that is not why I create. And so a lot of people have been groomed through these Ivy League institutions and these historically black institutions, because we're not going to say that because you went to a HBCU you're not groomed for the same thing. A lot of times it's the same thing, just dipped in chocolate.
oh my God.
Don't act shocked.
It's the same thing in blackface. And we need to hold space for that. And so the intentions behind creating, and our intentions behind creating for the most part, have become about consumership. It's become about capital gain. And so my reason for creating was not aligning with her reason for creating. She wanted me to be an investment that would bring her residuals, dividends. And to some degree, I definitely understand that because when I invest in people, I definitely want to see a return. But she was the type of person that wanted to give me $200 and $300, or $500 and $600, and literally be able to shape me into a person that didn't even look like me anymore. And I think it's important to, and if we're not talking about ethnic background, to some degree, she was a person of color because she was Caucasian, but she was also Philippine, and she was also a part of the community as it regards being a sex change. But yeah, she was a beautiful person. I don't regret meeting her. I was definitely inspired by her, and I don't regret meeting her. But where we were at an impasse was her wanting to change core parts of me. It felt like an infiltration. And let's be clear, whether it's not about race, it's not about color, it's not about sex, it's not about gender. I have had to step away from people who are in the community, people who are black, people who are queer, people who I grew up knowing. I've had to step away from them because our values weren't aligning, and the direction that they were trying to push me in was a direction that was away from what I feel I'm being called to do. And so that's one example, but there's also other examples within the community. And so it brings me to this place of, when you say, who are my role models, when you say, who are the people who inspired me, I can tell you people who have inspired me on this journey, and a lot of them are not people who inspire me now. If you ask me who were some of my inspirations within the community 20 years ago, I would have said God Goddess, rest their soul. I would have said TT. I would have said Precious, God Goddess, rest her soul. I would have even said one of my nieces, Basha. I would have said Bebe. And these are people that I learned how to survive from in the wild, in the thick of it. If we went even further back to my childhood, it would have been the preacher that was the problem. It would have been the head of the church. At one time, they were my idol. They were my role model. But as you grow, you should learn better. And when you learn better, you do something different with your life. If we go back 10 to 15 years, I had a huge amount of respect for T.S. Madison. I had a huge amount of respect for Diamond Styles. I had a huge amount of respect for Breonna Jenkins. And to some degree, those people are still influencers. They're still movers and shakers, and they're still very respected by people in the community. And I'm not going to take anything from them. I'm going to give them their roses in that regard, that they have their people that look up to them. But I had to get off the bus. My stop had came. And sometimes we be ignoring our stop. We don't want to get off. We want to keep on riding. And then when we realized that this ride is, we hadn't came to the end, and then we went all the way back. We because you know what a bus does. When you get on the bus, it has its final destination, and then it starts the same route again. And what I realized being on that bus was, this ride. I feel like all rides take you back to the beginning, but I didn't feel like the circumference was covering enough ground for me. I didn't feel like there was enough space for me to maneuver in on those bus rides. I felt like the trips were too short. And I think, you know, in this community, we find a place, and we get in that place, and we build in that place, and we gatekeep in that space, and we amass wealth, we amass influence, we amass credentials, accolades, recognition, power, and we build in that space. And is it always the best? Like, we have organizations out here that don't put black in front of it, and because they say they black this, black that, everybody roll with it because it's black. But is it though? Because black should have the capacity to hold everything. Black should have space for everything. And once black becomes exclusionary, like black excellence, like black elitism, like once we try to make black exclusionary, once we start booting people out of a space that's already struggling, that's wild for me. That's like women who boot out trans women and say you don't belong here and I'm not respecting your pronouns. To exclude somebody from a space that is already struggling, where we've never seen a female president of the United States, a woman president of the United States, a woman pope. We've never seen women in extreme positions of power, like actual top of the heap power in this reality, because they got women out here booting people out of an already struggling space, and black people are guilty of the same thing. You booting people out, but patriarchy doesn't operate like that. Patriarchy letting everybody in, including you. That's why they say you came from his rib. He ain't booting you out. He letting you in. You're welcome, but you're gonna know your place in this. And so this is an opportunity for all of us to do something different. This whole practice of being exclusionary just because we have biases without even really getting to know people is weird, insane, wild, and dangerous.
And it's like, speaking of, oh, that was on point. That was on point. Speaking of exclusionary, it's like to the point, y'all hold space for people specifically that you sexually desire.
And I, oh,
And y'all leave out the people that needs community the most and that really much needs a safe space. And it's like y'all priorities of community is so askew and so distorted because that y'all are aligning y'all views with white supremacy in society. And to the point that this community has literally became a business organization, and the terms of black excellence is, I see it as a scam because you're only rooting for people that is going to keep the simulation running and not help to dismantle it and not able to really much detach away from it, unsubscribe from it, and actually come back to spirit. Y'all only want to center people that just be yapping and be posing, presenting, and entertaining you. But you never want to center people to help you heal, to help you identify with who you are instead of this survival mode personalities that y'all compensate over and that y'all brag and promote. Like, it's just so backwards. And getting to like the topics of dealing with a lot of known, you know what I'm saying, black, directors and elites, and with examples of Tyler Perry. That is a very great example. And I feel like his story, it's just him explaining his story, that should be a red flag within itself and what not to be, because he is a model that a lot of black people take and adopt and very much parakeet. Like, he is a person of him. Everything that he writes, everything that he produces, everything that he creates is under the trademark of Tyler Perry. He gives nobody their credit. He gives nobody nothing. Like, he doesn't contribute to community. Like, he has a main character syndrome on steroids.
Oh my God.
don't act shocked.
Hello. So it's like the point when you hog so much resources the whole time. I feel like just what Oracle said. Y'all talk about reparations, but I feel like reparations checks have been deposited
My leg!
behind the scenes, and I do feel like he. Yeah, I feel like something with him, especially a black man that don't need white society to really much, you know what I'm saying, beam him or get him to the direction. He got his own billion-dollar studio. This is the first black man that got his billion-dollar movie studio.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
That is that should be further investigated on itself. It's like, to this point, in order to really much create a society that does not attach itself to nowhere near the male society, we have to invest in each other. We have to invest in our healing. We have to do this because, child, we can't do this out on our own. We have to come together to form our own thing, to form our own entertainment, to form our own, but we're doing it in an autonomous, a free flowing, in a very much in a balanced way of acknowledging really much all of who you are and not a half version of you that's beneficial for the system. And that's acknowledging the mother and the father within you and learning how to reciprocate, learning how to deal with family. I'm not talking family of blood, I'm talking about the family of spirit, your chosen family. It's learning how to not just honor you, but how to honor other people in a healthy way.
Yeah, and then going down this rabbit hole, because we keep going down this rabbit hole of reparations. I'm so glad that I never did any of them DNA tests, because I almost got caught up in that gimmick for a while, and they always gonna tell you you belong somewhere over there in Africa, but more and more tea is being learned, and it's not by these scholars, amazingly enough, who are over here graduating from these HBCUs. My God, is God on today. And I'm not saying God is God. I'm saying goddess, God. God, goddess, goddess, God. I'm saying a hybrid of masculine and feminine energy. And when you add the numbers together from that word, you get divine nine, honey.
In that order.
Yes, ma'am. That's what it equals up. The energy around that word equals nine, honey. So it's on a frequency of nine. My God, goddess today. My goddess, God today. So it's not like the truth is not coming out, from the people in the HBCUs. Like they're not telling us the tea that we was already here. They're not spilling that tea. They're not spilling that tea that all of our ancestors did not come over here on slave ships.
Agreed.
That's the real game, mama. Mwah.
And like Anadia alluded to, and like I've said in earlier videos, the reparation checks have already cleared. We just gotta pay ye.
And
We gotta pay ye. We got gatekeepers who are in charge of those funds. Because if you think in your mind that you could just say, "Oh, hey, I want to be a billionaire and work real hard," and you're gonna become a billionaire, no, you get the okay. You are approved. You get accepted, and there are powers that be moving behind the scene that allow the algorithm to bend to your will, that allow you to make certain connections and certain relationships. If you think in your mind you could just work really, really, really hard and just be a good, upstanding person and become a millionaire, you are out your rabbit. If that's what you think, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. So I'm gonna say it again. The checks have been cleared. The reparations have come, and the reparations are being held in the hands of melanin-rich multi-millionaires and billionaires.
I said what I said.
They hold the keys. So sit around here waiting for reparations when they already came. We just got payees, and the payees gonna determine how much you get. And they ain't even trying to give you no residuals.
Oh my God.
Don't act shocked.
They trying to pay you right now. You gonna get paid for your work today, and they're gonna use your likeness and your image forever, ever.
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
And you might not get nothing throughout perpetuity. My God is God on today. You might get something today, get a little stipend today, get a little something today. You with a union, you might get a little something down the road. But if you ain't unionized, you might get a little something for the day. So you have to decide. And see, we understand that you can't steal from the ocean. So, we don't be messed up about, like, I'm not one of those people who believe, oh, they stealing from blackness, they stealing from what, everything is all connected. I'm just concerned about your intentions when you use the art that I have had to work for, the wisdom and the art that we've had to work for, and then you take it and trivialize it and wear it like a T-shirt to a party.
and
Everybody got their cups, but they ain't chipped in. You understand what I'm saying? You trivialize it, don't have the same intention and the same ethic, the same morals behind using the art. Therefore, it is not helping to elevate. It's a novelty to make you sound important at the time.
Period.
Like I love what's his name? They Not Like Us. What's his name? I love Kendrick Lamar's lyrical prowess, but when he said that the revolution is going to be televised, when he was like trying to make the Super Bowl that moment, I was like,
No! God, please, no! No!
You cannot be for real. Oh my God, you for real? No, you for fake. No, you for real.
that was wild. Then you saw little Johnny and Becky Sue and Crystal and they was all just doing little TikTok dances. And I was like,
Wait a damn minute. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
and Carol was jumping in to get a piece of the They Not Like Us, and they took all of the steam out of that song. They turned a moment into a TikTok viral moment, and and he capitalized. He went he did that little flip walk all the way to the bank. But let's not make that the revolution, because that wasn't the revolution. That was full support of the institution. Okay, so we not full support wrapped in a melanin rich, swagged out bun. It was an Oreo moment. It was cream filled.
I know you like.
Because understand that white supremacy, white is a construct, not a color. They were telling you that it's documented that Abraham Lincoln and John Hamilton and a lot of the cabinet members were actually black.
Oh my God.
Don't act shocked.
But they identified as white because white was a status. There was a wealthy black woman in his story that wanted to marry a wealthy white man, and they changed her race to white. My God has died on today, so that she could marry that white man. And so this is nothing new. And you don't have to be light and bright to get a white status, because they have wealthy Africans that come over here. Wealthy Negro Africans, let me be clear. Wealthy Illinois Africans that come over here,
Big African accents and everything.
that come over here and get white on their ID. So, we got to get away from this idea that white is a color. No, white is a construct. And if you got the money, you can buy into it.
Agreed. That's the real game, mama. Mwah.
That's why you see certain people that's don't reach a certain pay grade, they don't even use black until it's time to trigger y'all.
And
Until it's time to mess with y'all. All of a sudden, when it's time to ignite a civil war, when it's time to get black people up in arms, they black, I'm black, and black this and black that.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
But then when it's time it's time for you to read their bio, I'm an American actress.
Oh.
I'm an American artist. When you had us beefing, when you had poor people out here fighting, ready to scrap in the streets, you was black then. But now when I'm reading your bio on the good Wikipedia, when I'm reading your bio on the good Beyonce internet, they say you are American.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Athlete, you're an American act, and if we not indigenous, why they keep reclassifying us? Why they ain't reclassifying everybody else? We done went from Negro to colored to African American to black, and it's so ironic that the good Reverend Jesse Jackson passed in the very month in which he gave us this classification. He pushed that black agenda.
Oh my God.
don't act shocked.
And he went back home. He ascended to go be back with the ancestors during this very month. And I think that's a sign. That's a sign. You live by it. Wow.
That's diabolical.
Diabolical.
Period.
But I want to say this. I want to say that my first inspiration in the mainstream, and still to some degree I respect and love, was Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill, MC Light, when I was going through my little nasty hot girl trying to survive in the streets, Trina, Lil Kim, I'm gonna play the whole tape. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like it was just Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey. Like it was definitely okay. And Mary J. Blige, I'm gonna give a shout out. A little like Janet Jackson. Okay, come on, Control, Pleasure, Principle. Definitely some of that. I liked um Heavy D, MC Hammer, there were like groups that just, got me up to moving, got the energy flowing, Bill DeVoe, like, artists like that. And I just feel like I outgrew those influences, but I will never take away what they instilled in me. I also like your um what's her name? Cheryl Lee Ralph. I actually got to meet her in person. Who are some other artists? Cicely Tyson, very, very powerful. Della Reese, and even though Eddie Murphy has done some messed up stuff to trans women, we gonna hold space for that. But Eddie was an inspiration to me, when I was younger, like as, just how he maneuvered his gifts to be able to connect with to create so many characters. I think he was an inspiration for a lot of people. Tyler Perry, Martin Lawrence, a creative genius, and just proof that you could alchemize all your trauma and everything that you've done to people. You could take that and alchemize that. LL Cool J, we heard some things about him, but Will Smith, we heard some things about him, and Jada Pinkett, yeah, Gabrielle Union, like you heard a lot about, Dwayne Wade, like these are people that I used to follow and things that people that I used to celebrate, but now in this place in my life, I may check in, but I don't have any artists that I'm really, really a fan of, or that, I couldn't live without their music. If they took it away right now, I don't know what I would do. Now, the ones who used to be there for me were India Ari, but India Ari tends to give me very binary still. David Banner gives me very binary still, but I give them props for opening the door to get me to Vision Beyond, Outcast, artists like that. They opened the door, and that's what I'm thankful for. When I think of in the YouTube landscape, I think of Savan Bozeman. I think of, and I don't mess with him anymore, Dane Calloway, because he said some transphobic stuff. Like there are, and FD Signifier is somebody that I still like, shouts out to FD Signifier. But I want to honor, black people, melanin rich people who aren't afraid to say the stuff that people should be saying but are not saying. So shout out to them. And I'm always gonna honor the people from whom my gifts flow, my passion flows. I honor my grandmother. I honor my great grandmothers. I honor my mama for the talent that flowed through me from them. I honor my father, my you know biological, and the ones who was just there for me, the ones who were like father figures to me, my grandfathers, and my chosen family. You know what I'm saying? My chosen mothers, my community mothers, because it's definitely been a village around me. And I celebrate and I acknowledge, my children, my chosen children. I celebrate my co-collaborators in the building of this work. Purple Prodigy, who is here right now. Empathy, and all of my beautiful daughters and all of my children, Barney, Pernisha, Henry, and Henry not even black. But baby, when you got your soul and when it's in your soul, I honor my intuitive counselor, Aurora Monroe. I honor the deep spacecraft and all of them who have, helped to create safe spaces for us. Yahuru, Evolve, Jordy, I honor all of them. I honor all of the people who are continuing to do this work. And even if we don't align and even if we don't always agree with one another, I'm just thankful to share space with you. I'm thankful for the opportunity to learn from you. Some of you, I learned who I don't want to be.
Period.
My God has got on today, so I'm thankful for y'all too. But I'm thankful for the ones who inspire me and push me to the next level, who continue to hold me up. My sisters, my siblings, definitely the Octavias, the Safaris. I thank y'all all for everything that y'all sow into us, to keep us going. I love y'all, and I'm finna turn this back over to Purple Prodigy to go ahead and wrap us up and take us out. Y'all, let's do better when this roll back around next year, and let's do better at having the tough conversations where we acknowledge the ancestors that have been erased, not just the ancestors who participated, a man, a woman. So I'm gonna give this back to Purple Prodigy and let Purple Prodigy take y'all on out with this. And happy Melanin Rich Month, happy Heritage Month, a man, a woman.
Man, a woman. Well, that concludes with this very powerful, amazing episode of the Purple Frank podcast. I want to appreciate everybody that tuned in, everybody that has impacted us, even in good or bad ways, and that has been many examples in our life and that have really much set the standard, set the tone. I'm going to leave it at this, and I want everybody have a beautiful, gorgeous, melanin rich month. And love y'all, Layla Nation. Purple ones, right? Mary, take care, y'all.
Me, just give me a sign.